The Plymouth Colony Saga, told by the women who lived it, by the Central Texas Mayflower Colony of the Texas Society of Mayflower Descendants. Videos in the series Plymouth Colony Saga include the wives of colony leaders Alice Carpenter Southworth Bradford, the wife of Edward Southworth and Governor William Bradford, and Susanna Jackson White Winslow, the wife of William White and Edward Winslow, which is in two parts. Wives of prominent couples include Elizabeth Tilley Howland, wife of John Howland, and Priscilla Mullen Alden, the wife of John Alden. Introducing Elizabeth Tilley Howland, presented by Catherine Caprio. Descendant of Pilgrim William Bradford, Pilgrim Richard Warren, Pilgrim Francis Cook, and Pilgrim John Cook.
Greetings, I am Elizabeth Tilley Howland. You may have heard of my husband, Pilgrim John Howland. We spent our entire lives together and had 10 children and 88 grandchildren. It was a good life, but times were not always easy. I came to Plymouth Colony on the Mayflower when I was 13 years old with my parents, John and Joan Tilley, and my uncle and aunt, Edward and Agnes Tilley, and Agnes's sisters, 1-year-old Humility Cooper and 16-year-old Henry Sampson. While on the Mayflower, I met a young man named John Howland. He was an indentured servant for John Carver, and even though I was only 13, I noticed how handsome and hardworking he was. One day, during a strong westerly gale, John went to help the sea crew manage the sails and accidentally fell into the Atlantic Ocean. I was so scared for him, but John was smart and very strong. He was able to grab hold of a trailing rope and was hauled back aboard by sailors using boat hooks. I was one of the first to his side with blankets and dry clothes. The first winter in America was extremely difficult. Almost half of our group died, including my parents and my aunt and uncle, leaving me and my 2 cousins orphaned in a strange new world. My cousin Humility was taken in by the Brewster family, and I was taken in by John Carver and his family. My cousin Henry spent a long, productive life in the new colony. The Carvers were very kind to me, and I worked hard to help cook and clean for them. However, soon after I joined the family, they became sick, and I helped care for them until they died that April. I was devastated and didn't know what would happen to me, but Master Carver had the foresight to plan for my care. He left part of their estate to his 17-year-old servant, John Howland, and made me a ward of John Howland to provide for my needs. It was a harsh winter, and none of us might have survived if it had not been for the Native American Squanto. He was a survivor of the Patuxet tribe of Native Americans whose ruined village stood at the site where we founded Plymouth. His people had tragically been wiped out by smallpox. Squanto spoke English after several years of being enslaved in England and helped translate for us with the Wampanoag tribe who lived nearby. When spring came, Squanto taught us how to plant corn together with a fish for fertilizer on the land that had belonged to his own tribe. All the men and boys who were able worked long hours in the fields, hunting in the woods and fishing in the ocean and nearby streams. The women did the cooking and tended to the household duties, while we older girls helped where we could and cared for the young children. Since there were only 4 healthy women by summertime, a lot of responsibilities fell on the children. Everyone worked from dawn to dusk and fell into bed exhausted. In the end, all the hard work paid off and the crops were bountiful that autumn. To show our thanksgiving to God, we invited the entire Wampanoag tribe to a 3-day celebration filled with food, games, and ceremonial shooting of guns and arrows. Nearly 90 natives came bearing deer and fowl. The 4 Pilgrim women, with the help of the older children, prepared the venison, fowl, bread, corn, and shellfish for the festival. There were more natives at that first Thanksgiving than pilgrims. In 1624, John Howland and I married. We initially built a house on First Street in Plymouth, but as our family grew, we acquired 4 acres on Watson's Hill and later acreage in Duxbury and Rocky Nook. John served as a Plymouth Colony assistant and deputy to the general court. He was in charge of the fur trading post at Kennebec and was also on the fur trade committee. Beaver furs were used to help pay off the colony's debt to the investors who had paid for the Mayflower voyage. John was very busy throughout the years of our children's growing up, but he always found time to spend with his family. My beloved John died in Plymouth on February 23rd, 1673, after nearly 50 years of marriage. It was such a sad loss to the entire colony, but John had lived a good life and was ready to meet his maker. I lived with my daughter Lydia for the remainder of my days, helping with the children and the cooking whenever I could. I have no regrets. I lived an adventurous life and was proud to be a part of the building of a new colony in America, a place where we could worship in freedom without the interference of the King of England.
Elizabeth Tilley Howland, reenactor, Catherine Caprio. Technical production, Ann Bell. Background music, Betty Prince.